John Shannon knows that town well. The TV executive, NHL insider joins us. Hey, John, happy summer, my friend. How's it been for you?
Oh, it's been a great summer, Rod. I almost don't want it to end.
I get it. I'd say the same, but I'm heading back to Florida September 1st, where it's endless summer, as you know. I'm going to start with the number one
and
topic.
by then, of course, by then too, you know the Marlins are nowhere near the playoffs, so that's okay.
I just like the shirt. That's all I'm repping. I just like the shirt. Would you mind weighing in on the biggest story in August, and that is the Oilers bidding adieu to Broberg and Holloway, and vis-a-vis Cody Ceci as well? What do you think that does to them as a top 5 favorite coming back to win the Stanley Cup in the odds for this upcoming season?
I think first blush would say, "Whoa, it's going to be different." But on second thought, they really didn't touch the core of this team. Their top 3 defensemen are still their top 3 defensemen. Their top 6 forwards are still their top 6 forwards, minus Evander Kane, who will be back at some point during the regular season. Their goaltending is solid. So all of a sudden, when you look at what the Oilers are and what we saw them perform as during the Stanley Cup playoffs, I don't think anything really changes at this point. I think there has to be fans that are disappointed that Broberg and Holloway, who did show signs of quality performance during the playoffs, but at the same time, Connor McDavid's still there, Leon Draisaitl's still there, Zach Hyman's still there. Adam Henrique re-signed, Jeff Skinner's in town. They did put some warm bodies in place that will help this club through the regular season and perform in the playoffs.
I'm dying to get your take on offer sheets in general as a guy who's been in the rooms, been in the meetings. I don't like having the ability to steal players like this. Dirty pool, really, and Doug Armstrong admitted to as much. It's legal. It's not. I missed the memo. What do you think about the mechanism?
Well, I like the mechanism. The question becomes now, and this is the evolution of the National Hockey League, Rod, is that the league is getting younger. The level of quality of players coming in at 18 and 19 and 20 and expectations of those players on their first contracts to perform is higher. All of a sudden, the penalties, the penalty for signing a restricted free agent aren't that harsh. That's the real issue. So this is a collective bargaining agreement now that is, 11 years old, really. The basic form of it was done in 2013. So the question becomes: Doug Armstrong went and got 2 players that are going to be on the Blues roster for the regular season in key positions. I would suspect Holloway's a top 9 player. I don't think he's a top 6. He's a top 9 player, and I think Broberg's going to be a top 4 defenseman in St. Louis. But really, what did he give up? He didn't give up very much for them. So I would suspect that at some point in the negotiation for the collective bargaining agreement next time, the compensation for these types of players, it might increase. Because if you go after an elite player, let's, for the sake of argument, and this will never happen, so please don't panic, Edmonton. If somebody decided, and Leon didn't sign this season, and Leon went to free agency as a restricted free agent, he's not. But if he had gone as a restricted free agent last time, it would have been, to get him, it would have been 5 first-round picks because of the amount of money they would have had to spend to sign him. Well, Broberg and Holloway were both under that level of compensation. So the levels of compensation are the things that I think that the league and the Players Association and the teams will look at as they try to figure out what the next collective bargaining agreement is all about.
Isn't that interesting that you say that? It's like the laws haven't caught up to technology.
Well, that's right. That is exactly right.
Yeah.
That is exactly right. Yeah. Hockey players are coming and are developing so much faster, even in the last decade. And the expectation is that they have to contribute faster in the last decade, but the compensation for a restricted free agent has not changed since the CBA was originally signed in 2013.
I don't think I've had a chance to talk to you since the NHL announced last spring a record $6.2 billion revenue. It's been fun kicking it around with hockey fans in both countries, not around the world, Canada and U.S., as to why. Why do you think they recorded a record $6.2 billion in revenue last season?
Well, I think you have to look at both the TV deals in the United States and the other thing that doesn't get talked about very much, in addition to gate receipts, if you look at the competition between basketball and hockey, more people are in their seats in hockey than there are in basketball arenas. That's a fact. This has always been a gate-driven league. Well, and since the pandemic is over, people have come back in droves. The addition of Seattle has certainly helped. The addition of Vegas has certainly helped. And then you look at the virtual advertising that exists on every broadcast now. So the reality is that there truly are 3 sets of rink boards in every hockey game now. One for the home team, one for the road team, and one in the arena. And so that is another huge boost in revenue. The other thing is hockey is still growing in a lot of markets, in the United States particularly. I don't have to tell you what the Florida Panthers have done in the last 2 or 3 years to their market, and it's a similar situation. And I will say that the revenues are going to go up again next year, simply because there's no drag of the Arizona Coyotes anymore, and they are going to be a successful franchise in Salt Lake City, and the people there are going to contribute into the league coffers at a much higher level than the Coyotes ever did in the Alex Morello era.
When you and your buddies go for coffee next time, I'd like to just sit in the corner. I'll have my own cup of coffee. I just want to listen. I don't want to participate. I just want to listen. I'd love to know I could talk to you for hours, and we'd only got a couple of minutes here, but do you think the NHL ever goes back to Arizona? Because I do not, but I'd love to know your thoughts on that.
Well, it's a chicken and egg scenario, Rod, and it's pretty good. We need a chicken first. Do you think there will be a state-of-the-art arena in that market in a relatively short period of time? You have to figure out what the Phoenix Suns are doing with their arena. Matt Ishbia, who owns the Suns, is a very aggressive young guy. He likes growing revenues too. Will he build a new arena? Will it be hockey ready as well? That, to me, is the only thing that stands in the way. We're not going to see hockey there until there's a new state-of-the-art arena. And at this point, I think people are, and we know now that Alex Morello is out completely. He couldn't arrange for that in the next 5 years. So from that perspective, you may be right in the short term. I still think that it's a fertile market for hockey. I really do believe that, but it has to, this time around, has to be perfect with a great arena in a proper location in that city, and the proper location is either in downtown Phoenix or in Scottsdale.
Look at all the players that have come out of there. Austin Matthews, or at least been born there. Matthew Tkachuk, Tage Thompson. It's a bigger list than people think. And because I have you, and I just learned last time we chatted that you are a founding father of the CFN. Are you following the CFL? And if so, what are your thoughts?
I'm of the vintage that there will always be a place for the Canadian Football League on my television. I haven't been to a game yet this year. I should probably end up going, and the closest team to my house are the Tiger Cats. And I don't want to get the wrath of Scott Mitchell at me because the Tiger Cats have not been very good this year. I must say I'm a little disappointed. They hired Chris Jones as a senior defensive coordinator. But he's got friends, and I understand that. And the Tiger Cats need to do something. I'm thrilled that Nathan Rourke is back in the league. I'm thrilled that we're going to create some more stability in Vancouver with the Lions and their quarterback position. So I follow. I don't follow as closely as I once did, but there will always be a place for the CFL in my house.
Yeah, and you're following more than most. John, thanks for this. Appreciate you, and enjoy what's left of summer.
Have a great day, Rod, and say hello to Blackie for me.
Absolutely. Will do. Rod Black coming up in hour 2. Television executive and NHL insider John Shannon.